Welcome to episode 2 of the podcast series with Dr. Gustav Brink. In this episode, we will be looking at how producers are not prepared to meet international sanitary requirements, as well as dumping and brining. Dr. Gustav, can you take us through what the challenges are that are faced by poultry producers locally, what their arguments are in respect of poultry imports and exports?
We complain about the products from the EU, the US, Brazil, etc., and we say they're all dumped. And we accuse especially the US and the EU of selling what they have in their markets as a byproduct or even as a waste product to us at very low prices. Now, the thing is, if you look at, let's say, beef, you have chuck and you have fillet. Essentially what SAPA is saying is that you should be selling the products at the same price. And of course, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way for beef. It doesn't work that way for mutton. It doesn't work that way for poultry. Even the industry has different prices for different products, yet they expect the exporters from overseas to price everything exactly the same. So there's a we can do this, but you can't do that mentality, which is very bad. The industry is also not prepared to update their production processes to meet international sanitary requirements. I'm not saying our product is not safe. Definitely not. I eat poultry very regularly. And since I buy fresh poultry, it is definitely locally produced.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if we meet the EU requirements, and let's be honest, the EU requirements on just about any agricultural product is sometimes just absurd. That is true.
Yeah.
But if we can produce to a standard where we can export our breasts to the EU, which is a product which they really want,
Yeah.
we can export our breasts to them and import the leg quarters from them. And then everybody will be happy because they can get the breasts that they can't get enough of, can't produce enough of. And then by getting more value for our breasts, we can then fill that gap with all the breasts that are exported with imported dark meat, which is what we prefer. I mean, let's be honest. A drumstick and a thigh just has so much more taste for me than a breast.
Yeah.
So, but our producers are simply not prepared to do that. We had the massive fight about brining a couple of years ago, where if you picked up a pack of 2 kilogram IQF mixed portions, and you would look at the front, it would say in letters probably about 60 to 80 millimeters high, it would say IQF chicken portions. And then you turn it over, and then at the back, in letters that are probably around 3 millimeters, so you can see the difference, it says ingredients: chicken 60%, brine 40%. Which means 40% of the total weight of the product that you bought just a few years ago was salt water.
Yeah.
And the international standard is 8%, by the way. So then it was a massive fight to get them to actually change, because you can think everything that you've read about nutrition says don't take too much salt. Now you've got a product that's got 40% brine in it. And eventually government forced them to a standard where they can have up to 15% brining, which is still double the maximum allowed standard internationally. So we are way out. And their argument is, but consumers prefer that. No, consumers don't prefer that. If you take a piece of chicken, let's say you take a chicken breast, an IQF portion made in South Africa, and you put that in your pot, and then you take an imported frozen, even IQF portion, and you put it in the same pot, and you cook them. What you're going to end up with is the South African portion, when it's ready, is going to be much smaller than the imported one, because you've got 15% brine in it. Whereas the imported product has, well, an absolute maximum of 8, but very few of the products that we import would have more than 4% brining in it. And a lot of the products don't have any brining, which means you buy 100% meat versus 85% meat. Now, of course, industry loves to do that, because what you're doing is you're selling salt water at the same price as you're selling chicken. So from that, they make a lot of profit. So we have to take these things into consideration when you look at what is happening in the industry, why industry has suffered over the past couple of years. I mean, when they had to reduce the amount of water in their product by 25%, obviously the cost per kilogram of actual chicken just increased dramatically.
Yeah.
And that has got nothing to do with imports.
Thank you for joining us today on Chicken Bites, and we hope to have you on the next episode.